Okay, so after you do your full inspection, your walk around inspection and your in-cab inspection, and your air brake inspection, then you're going to go into what the DMV calls the basic vehicle control skills test. And this section is going to talk about that. So in this part of the CDL test is where you go into the backing. Okay, so you've done your full inspection, you've started the truck, you've done your air brake test. Now you're going to go into the 3 different backups that you have to do. That portion of the test, and this section is gonna explain to you what that portion of the test covers, the exercise that it covers, and how they score you. Okay, so this is good information in here. All right, your basic control skills could be tested using one or more of the following exercises: off-road or somewhere on the street during the road test. Okay, now this portion, the backing up, when I was taking my Class A CDL test, we did this in the parking lot. Okay, we weren't on the street. So you got to do straight line backing, offset back right, offset back left, parallel park driver side, parallel park conventional side, which obviously is the other side of the truck, the passenger side, and alley dock parking. We actually didn't have to do alley dock parking when I took my test just a few years ago. They had taken that test off of the DMV exam. These exercises are shown in figures 12.1, so they got those figures down below. Here's how the scoring goes: crossing boundaries or encroachments, pull-ups, outside vehicle observations, and final position, whether you're inside the cones or not. This is what they're scoring you on during the backup test portion of the CDL test. Whether your encroachments, whether you're crossing the boundaries, how many times you got to pull up, okay? If you got to stop the vehicle and get out and look to see where you are, okay, that they count that. And they count the final position where you are, whether you're all the way over the lines in the lanes or whether you're in the cone or not. So let's talk about encroachments. Encroachments. The examiner will score the number of times you touch or cross over an exercise boundary line or cone with any portion of your vehicle. Each encroachment will count as an area. So if you go, too far back, right, and you go back past the cone and your DOT bumper goes over the line, or it goes to the left of the line or whatever, too far over, right, then they do count that against you. Pull-ups: when a driver stops and pulls forward to clear an encroachment or to get a better position, it is scored as a pull-up. Stopping without changing direction does not count as a pull-up. So if you just stop to peep out of your mirror and get a better view and you don't get out and look, that doesn't count as a pull-up. You will not be penalized for initial pull-ups. So if you got to pull up once to get a better position, you're not penalized for that. However, an excessive number of pull-ups will count as errors. Okay, we were told that we were allowed 2 pull-ups. Okay, except for on the straight backing. I think you're only allowed 1 on that one. All right. Outside vehicle observations, looks. You may be permitted to safely stop and exit the vehicle to check the external position of the vehicle. Look. When doing so, you must place the vehicle in neutral and set the parking brakes. Then, when exiting the vehicle, you must do so safely by facing the vehicle and maintaining 3 points of contact with the vehicle at all times. When exiting a bus, maintain a firm grasp on the handrail at all times. If you do not safely secure the vehicle or safely exit the vehicle, it may result in an automatic failure of the basic control skills test. Okay, so you got to make sure, if you got to stop and get out and look, you got to make sure you put the truck in neutral, which of course you would do that anyway. You got to make sure you pop the brakes, and you got to make sure when you get out, you maintain 3 points of contact: 2 hands and 1 foot, or 2 feet and 1 hand, one of the two. If you don't do that, it's an automatic fail when you're exiting that truck. The maximum number of times that you may look to check the position of your vehicle is 2, except for the straight line backing exercise, which allows 1 look. That's what I just said. Each time you open the door, move from a seated position where in physical control of the vehicle, or on a bus, walk to the back of a bus to get a better view. It is scored as a look. Okay. Final position inside the parallels. This is the last thing. This is another thing they grade you on, where your final position, when you stop and you say, okay, I'm done. I've executed the maneuver you want me to execute. They're going to check your final position to make sure you're in between the lines where you should be. It is important that you finish each exercise exactly as the examiner has instructed you. If you do not maneuver the vehicle into its final position as described by the examiner, you will be penalized and could fail the basic skills test. Okay, so they're going to check your final position. Make sure you're in the right position when you stop. 12.2, exercises. They talk about the straight line backing. Now, these are the 3 different backings that you need to do in this portion of the test. You may be asked to back your vehicle in a straight line between 2 rows of cones without touching or crossing over the exercise boundaries. Okay, so they don't want you to touch or cross over. If you do that, we already talked about how they penalize you for that. Offset back right. You may be asked to back into a space that is to the right rear of your vehicle. You will drive straight forward the outer boundary. From that position, you must back the vehicle into the opposite lane until the front of your vehicle has passed the first set of cones without striking boundary lines or cones. And they show that in the figure down below. I'll show that so you can get a screenshot of it before we end this video. Offset back left. That's the same exact thing we just described. It's just to the left. Parallel park driver's side. You may be asked to park in a parallel parking space that is on your left. You are to drive past the entrance to the parallel parking space with your vehicle parallel to the parking area and back into the space without crossing front, side, or rear boundaries marked by cones. So they'll let you know right then what cones you can't cross over, what lines you can't encroach on. You are required to get your entire vehicle completely into the space. Parallel park conventional, of course, the same thing we just went over, except from the passenger side. Alley dock parking. This is the one that we didn't have to do. Okay, when I took the DMV, the test to get my Class A CDL, we had to do straight line backing, we had to do offset backing to the right and to the left, and we had to do parallel parking on the driver's side and on the passenger side. But anyway, you may be in a state where they still do alley dock parking. You may be asked to right side back your vehicle into an alley. You will drive past the alley and position your vehicle parallel to the outer boundary. From that position, back into the alley, bringing the rear of your vehicle within 3 feet of the rear of the alley without touching boundary lines or cones. Your vehicle must be straight within the alley when you have completed the maneuver. So all of those 3 different maneuvers that I just went over, the figures for it are right here. This is straight line backing. Make sure you get a screenshot of this if you need to. This is offset backing to the right and offset backing to the left. You'll have to do both of those. And this is parallel parking, driver's side and passenger / conventional side. You see what you have to do there. Again, make sure you get a screenshot of this. And here's alley dock parking if you have to do that. In the next video in this segment, we're going to cover the vehicle inspection portion of the test, of your test.